But I'll just get right into it because Karens are gone wild. They are gone ballistic. And this was the most Karen thing of all. I should have brought it up. But there's actually some people that are comparing the word Karen to the N word, and not just the my nigga type of N word, the nigger, ER, hard. And they're saying that calling someone a Karen is essentially the same as that. And this type of stuff is infuriating because people can get their feathers ruffled by being called a Karen, but no one is being jailed and sentenced and killed because they're a air quote Karen. But there have been people who say, hey, this person is a nigger lover, no colors allowed. People have been killed because of that N word. So that is highly offensive and problematic for someone to try to equate the word Karen with the NIGGER word. Is just flat out ridiculous to me. And I would say this too, predominantly the Karens that you see, have been white women. But Karen is a pejorative term.
They're like dominating. They're like dominating in it.
Yeah, exactly. They Seriously, are dominating. It's just they're the mascot for Karen. I'm gonna just set this up for you, and then I want you to cook. They are the mascot for that, but they are not the only ones. There's a video that I bring. There's a channel. It's called Elusive. I literally just found the channel today, but they highlight the different Karens, the male Karens, and the Karens of different nationalities. So right. Yes. Unfortunately, it is white women leading the charge of the Karen Brigade, but it's not only limited to them. So when people try to equate the word Karen, to the word nigger, which is a highly derogatory, offensive, and disgusting term, it's just ridiculous. Most of the time, a lot of people are saying the word Karen in a satirical satire type of fashion.
It's totally satire.
Correct.
And also, a sad thing is, before you completed your sentence, when you said they're equating the word Karen, and before you even said it, I already knew what you were gonna say. So how sad? I already knew. I hadn't even heard it yet, but I already knew I don't know. It's just not a surprise.
And that's the sad part about it. And since you only got limited time, I'm going to get right into the video. I got a couple videos, and, we can just have a discussion from here.
After. In today's video, we take a look at what they did and what happens when karma strikes. But before we get into the video, if you want to be in the video, please submit your clips in the description below. Alright, back to the video. Now this Walmart Karen loses her iPhone, then decides to follow and accuse a black male of stealing it. But the situation gets heated.
You're following me now.
Now I am.
That's cool.
Because that phone has cost me money.
A sorry is not good enough. A sorry person isn't good enough for me.
And now I am accusing you.
So he decides to walk back inside the shop and explain the situation.
Because I haven't made it to my car. Oh, I have it on video, her accusing me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a married man sitting here dealing with this woman's irate because her our son can't be responsible for a phone. That's not my fault.
Finally, the Karen realizes that her son has the phone and she handled the whole situation terribly wrong.
But being racially profiled, that's going to be
When
her.
we were in the parking lot, it was marking him like right there, but I can't.
Where's that now? It's still marking me? They should follow us, right? If I have the phone, right, she follow us in the store.
I am going to.
She accused me, and it's okay because I have everybody's face that's involved.
But I'm not like this. It was marking like right where we were at.
But unlucky for her, she was identified and now has a court date instead.
May I have your name, please, ma'am?
No.
Okay, that's okay. I'll get your license plate.
Up next, this Karen known as...
So what do you think about that situation? Have you ever seen the situation?
Yeah,
and
I've
did you
seen
hear
that.
the entire scenario?
I've seen that video before.
Oh wow, I've never seen that video.
Oh yeah, it's been out a while. It happened a while ago. Yeah, I don't even know where in the country it was, but the part that they don't show is she just didn't apologize at all.
She didn't even apologize.
No, she didn't apologize at all. She turned around and was like like it was obvious she was wrong, and then she was just the biggest douchebag about it. She just didn't apologize. It was just, yeah. That wasn't the end of the altercation. That was just the
Oh,
shorter version.
and see, this is the type of things that I'm talking about. And I knew the videos, like some of these videos, they're not new videos, but it's just, we're trying to have the discussion. But that video actually was new to me because you said it's been around for a while. I've never seen that video, but I have seen that happen so many times. And think about how many times people are not
You've seen
filming it.
it. You've seen it happen a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay. Because I don't know. I feel like I don't see like Karen. I don't like witness it. Maybe. And maybe I'm just not. I don't know. I didn't
Well, this
realize
is
it
what
was like that common.
yeah, we'll see. This is what it is.
Like I guess common is the word. Like I suppose it has to just be rampant.
Well, I think everything gets a little bit overblown over the internet. The thing is, the sentiment is rampant. So,
Yeah, for me it's the danger of it. It's the
correct.
danger factor because it's the danger factor. I mean, it's a lot of factors, but
Well, the danger is the underlying factor because
yeah.
you have to think about how long this has been going on, right? This hasn't
Yeah.
just been going on. With the area that you've been in. So let's just think about when your parents were growing up. You think this wasn't going on then? The only difference is people were being lynched. When they were calling cops, people were being lynched. And sometimes this same things happen. It's just cops are being killed and there were no cameras to film it.
Yeah,
And
the
then,
camera thing is huge. I feel like the camera thing is huge because I took my dogs to the dog park tonight and I saw a white lady at the dog park and she just starts talking to me about the incident in the pool. That's never I don't know, that's never happened to me. So that was like, I was like, well, yeah, she was pissed too.
when you say
This lady's
that's
pissed
never
too.
happened to you, what
That
are you
that like
referring to?
white people really talk about racism like that, not like that. So but I guess the point I was making though is the camera is what made this, like, it makes it known. I mean, it makes it known basically to the world as long as someone's lucky enough to have a camera.
Correct.
So yeah, but I think more people, like more white people, are hearing about it.
And that is true. So there's always a flip side to it. So there's been so many, due to segregation, which was planned, right? Strategically organized.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of blacks over here, a bunch of whites over there. So they're in their silo and everything they're hearing about blacks is propaganda. So
Yeah, absolutely.
just like when I was telling you about the crappy day, you have a crappy day today and then you wake up with a preconceived notion that tomorrow's going to be crappy. Okay. One black person robbed your family member, not because they were white, because they seen that your family had money and they were poor. So you think, oh, look, they're criminal. And then one person yells at you because, you're giving them dirty looks and they say something to you. Oh, look, they're mean. And all of these are confirmation biases. Like, this is what the news said. Someone robbed my uncle. This black dude yelled at me. I hate those niggers. You know what I mean? Like, it's just goes into an unfortunate state where people just get in this cognitive dissonance bubble. And the same thing for blacks too, right? If I've dealt with a bunch of people, damn, dealt with a racist cop, this person was racist. Oh, I like this white girl, but I went home and her parents hated me. It's kind of hard to not internalize and say, dang, are all whites right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is that the right way to be? It's not. That's why we
Right.
need to have these conversations just as much as, because whites are saying, everyone, we're not all racist. Cool. Just like we're not all criminals and dumb and whatever negative connotation. It goes both ways. If you
Right.
don't want everyone to be thinking that you're a racist or you're a Karen, stop thinking that every black person is just some jail crack baby.
Yeah. Yeah. I really. So, do you think that the Karens, I mean, you think that they're obviously operating at like the highest level of racism? I think
Correct.
that's fair. You know what I'm saying? Like on the racism scale, like the Karens are like popping their top. I mean,
Yeah, you
they're
know what?
just
That's a great
like the
point that you're
most
making.
extreme ones, right? I mean, like like they seem to me to be the most extreme ones because
Yeah,
in
because they're
all
trying
of
to
this
flex
stuff,
power. They're trying to assert a certain level of dominance. It's almost they're trying to be militant and weaponize their whiteness, right? Because that's essentially, and once again, I'm only talking about the racial aspect of the Karen. Some people can, basically exhibit some of the Karen characteristics, and that can happen in any nationality, but
right?
predominantly when it comes to the racial aspect, see, there's Karens that are just acting like obnoxious and they can get the Karen shtick. But when you are singling someone out due to their racial identity, but at the same time crying and saying, why are you guys making everything about race? But you call the cops because of a person's race. So who is really making things about race, right? So
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
contradictory.
Yeah. I feel like it's I don't know, it's like rage, and it's just completely totally misplaced rage.
Correct.
Like they're mad, they're not even mad about that, they're literally mad about something else.
And this is
And then they're
shows how
just
small
blowing
they
their
are.
top or something. Like I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, what's their problem? Like, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. The lady with T.O.,
No, that
I
one,
shouldn't even say a lady. No, she's not a lady. She's a Karen because she's not a lady,
that one was so deep. I actually I know T.O. appeared to be flabbergasted, but I was just looking like, come on, bro. Like, that even shows once you reach a certain level, because that's when people are saying like, oh, blacks don't have it bad. Look at T.O. He's rich. It's like, come on, this dude's an anomaly. Like, stop acting like that's every person.
Yeah.
The average white guy makes 52,000. Like, you can just take black dudes out of it. The average white guy makes 52,000. So it's not like every person is making millions of dollars and stuff, and you don't actually necessarily have to live a good life. But these celebrities, they're so far removed from regular civilians
People,
that they say, oh, I don't see racism. Yeah, because you got a bunch of people of all ethnic groups kissing your butt because they see value in you. But then he sees when he's on the streets and people don't know that he's T.O., he gets treated like a regular black guy, and he said the lady was lying. He got out of the car and the lady said, and you got out of the car and you're a black guy coming at me. She said something.
she said you're a black man approaching a white woman, and I was like,
and I didn't even hear people bringing that point up. And that's what a lot of people think. Him getting, because she was lying on him, right? So he pulled his car over, got out of the car, and that was considered threatening. So her lying on him is not threatening. Her yelling at him, he said she was airing out all of his personal business too, saying you have liens on your house and like giving personal information,
Okay, so it's part of the weirdest thing about it is the obsession. To me, it's just obsessive to be thinking that much about another person just for not looking like you. I don't know how else to put that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm not quite like getting it, but it's just so I don't, it's an obsessive thing to me. Like I don't know. Do these women really just want to sleep with them, or I don't understand why the obsession?
Correct. I mean, maybe just like those slave owners that were saying, hey, I'm gonna own slaves, you're equal, but just not equal to us. And then I'm just gonna go bang all of the slave girls, even though these are disgusting savage beasts. But as soon as I get a chance, I'm gonna get a boner and have sexual intercourse. Like, does that make any sense? Or so vile, so disgusting. How could you ever deal with them? But hey, you got a closed back room to where I could go get busy with these disgusting slaves? Like, does that make any sense to you?
I don't.
Like,
Yeah,
who was the real demented and deranged one? The slaver or the slave? You know, I'm being forced to do this, but other people are doing this demented type of stuff, but they never question. I was just watching a streamer, his name is Amazing Lucas. He used to espouse a lot of, like, a black guy, and he espoused a lot of white supremacist talking points, and he finally seen the light, with just all of these instances, especially during the pandemic. You know, all of these instances were in your face, and you just, you know, and like we were talking about the camera, I know that's why you keep seeing some places they're giving laws to where they're saying you can't film a police officer.
Yeah, within 8 feet or something ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Like, why? Is that because you're interfering? No, they want you. They're all supposed to have body cameras. But how many instances do they say they're not turned on? How many instances do they say we can't release the footage? People are saying, oh, we were mad at defund the police. Yes, they need to defund the police. I think it's a horrible slogan, but there's nothing wrong with the slogan. Is horrible,
right? Because it's misleading. But
exactly. But people is willful ignorance, because people don't try to look into the slogan. No one has a problem saying defund education, defund the school lunches, and defund the no one has no issues with that. But defund police. And I present to you Uvalde. Did you see those cops? Those cops got extra funding in Uvalde. And what did they do? Stood outside scared when one freaking tweaked out teenager, and they had 40 plus cops out there. And you know, the Uvalde cops didn't even go in. Border Patrol ended up going in. So what? Refund the police? Like, come on now, you know. And that was kind of a roundabout way, but the Karens believe that the police are going to be on their side. Why would they believe that? Only due to racial aspects. We know that blacks are disenfranchised and downtrodden. If I call a cop, what is going to really happen? Oh, there are protests in the streets, and
yeah. Go ahead. I think if you are, I'll just say a white woman. I think if you're a white woman and you will not admit that you have privilege, you have that kind of power, that's really power, you're really just lying, like, to yourself also. Because I think inherently we know that. You know what I mean? So if you're not willing to even say it, you're just not living in reality. I mean, you're not living in like
I think
a just
everyone knows
reality.
that.
Well, right. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they have to be lying. They're either lying out loud or they're lying to themselves also and lying. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
lie.
thank you for saying that, because most of the times they're lying out loud, and
They are. They do it a lot. They'll say it just doesn't.
yes,
Yeah, they'll say it just
I've
doesn't
had
exist, and I'm like, and I'll
conversations.
be like, dude, I'm white too. Stop lying.
Yeah, and
Stop
look,
lying.
and
No.
that's why I'm glad to talk to you, because when I say it, it appears as just some black guy complaining and stop being a victim, right? And so it's like, okay, look, I'm not being a victim. I'm just pointing out what is. Everyone knows that white is the standard. There's a racial hierarchy and white is at the top. I'm not saying that you should feel guilty about that. All I'm saying is I'm trying to recognize that if this country is purporting itself to be all inclusive and everyone is equal and a fair shot, and then you're purposely stiffing over people and stepping on people and saying, oh, look, you could do it. I did it. It's like, yeah, you did it, but you got a loan from the bank. And it's like, here, we gave you a loan for the bank. Yeah, but you gave the white person a better interest rate. Oh, well, stop complaining. Okay, cool. Here's money to buy a house. All right, yeah, but we're going to push you and redline you over to this ghetto area. But I don't want to live in this area. Yeah, but we're white. We don't want to live by the black. You know what I mean? So there's all sorts of nuances that people don't want to acknowledge. And like you said, the white women having power is one of that. Really, the white women in the feminist movement hijacked the civil rights movement. The civil rights was supposed to be for blacks, specifically black men, because at the time, it was really just the men worked, the women stayed at home. But what did white women do? They hijacked it and said, what are they? A minority. That's why I don't use that term. I use the term black, because what people do, even the term people of color, I don't use that term either, because all it means is everyone else. People of color and minorities basically means all lives matter. See, when you're dealing with Jewish people, they say Jewish people. They don't say a minority, but aren't Jewish people a minority? When they're dealing with Asians, they say anti-Asian hate. Why wasn't it anti-minority hate? Right? Why wasn't it anti-Asian and anti-black hate? No, but there's no anti-black bill. You can't even say black people. They say black and brown, or they always say black and LGBT, like they always add black and. But when people are saying Irish or Native Americans, they don't say Native Americans and blacks. And meanwhile, Native Americans actually have gotten reparations, but you can't, people don't want to hear that for blacks. Nope, don't want to hear it. But you literally could say anything about any other group. And it's just sad that people don't recognize that.
Yeah, and basically, for the people that are resisting it that hard, they're basically not living in like the same world that we are, like with the same history. Like whatever happened, that's what happened. But you can't like lie about it. And I feel like Karens in the super racist, I mean, I feel like I'm putting Karens like at the top of the super racist hierarchy, honestly. I mean, they're way up there. They're just way up there. But shoot, I lost it.
Well, I'm gonna play a little bit more of the video and you'll get it back, because I know that you gotta head out soon.
Okay.
So
South Park Susan decides to harass two black women that are having car troubles. But when she realizes they're filming, she goes on a rant about herself being beautiful.
Okay, so what are you asking me? Do I need to call the police because I feel threatened?
Okay, well, we can do that. Hi, how are you? I'm hot, I'm beautiful, I'm 51, What are we going to talk about tonight? Being hot, being beautiful, being white, being my new weave?
After a while, this Karen realized she was still being filmed and, like usual, agrees to call 911 but never does. Instead, she started filming herself.
Well, I live here and I pay rent. I pay
so does
almost
she.
$1,100.
I don't know.
So what's going on?
Okay, I don't know, but we can call 911 to find out if you
That's
got a
cool.
problem.
Well, I can do this too. I can do this too.
Go ahead and call 911, Lisa.
Okay, let's do that right now. Let's call 911. I want to make sure that there's nothing going on here. Girl.
Ma'am, would you please leave us alone and go home?
I live here.
South Park Susan went on to brag about how much she was making a year and how much rent she pays.
So you go ahead and
I'm
call
gonna drop
911.
my video, and I'm white, and I make $125,000 a year, and I want to make sure that you're all up in here.
The situation continues to escalate with her asking the women what they're doing there and keeps saying she's white and hot.
Girl, I got you, girl.
Ma'am, you're in my
I'm
space.
white. I'm girl, white. I'm girl.
Space.
White, I'm white. I got you, girl.
Share.
I'm still gonna make
Ma'am, would you please get away from us?
$125,000.
Please
I'm
get
still
away
gonna
from
make
us.
$125,000 Monday morning. Who are you? Do you live
No,
here?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Nobody cares. I'm
Ma'am, if you
white
touch
and
me-
I'm hot.
Unlucky for this Karen, she did go to court and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of simple assault and 1 count of misuse of 911. She was sentenced to 12 months probation, and the judge also ruled that she would actively participate in meetings against racism. However, it gets better. Remember when she said this?
I'm still gonna make
Ma'am, would you please get away from
$125,000.
us?
Well, in addition to the criminal charges, she was also fired from her job. Moving on now, this Karen went ballistic in a fast food joint after noticing
What's your thoughts on that
I
particular
think that's
Karen or
jealousy.
scenario?
I swear I think that's jealousy. That case right there, I think she was trashed and jealous. I think she's jealous. I think she's just jealous. Because that's what I'm saying. I don't understand the obsession. It's like, dude, they're just standing there. Like, I don't understand the not. I just the whole thing of the Karen. I don't understand the not minding your own business part. I can't get it.
And
Like especially in this
that
case
part is
because those
insane.
women were just standing there.
And they both lived there because the Karen said, I pay rent. And I don't know if you've seen it.
And
The
she
lady
said,
said,
and
I
so
pay
do
rent
I.
here too.
Yeah, so does she.
You know, so it's like you acting like you're doing something special. And then she kept saying, I'm white and I'm hot.
And I'm
then
hot. That's why I took it that way. Because she was like, I'm white and I'm hot. And it's like, dude, nobody's saying that you're not. But there was 2 black ladies standing there. So she just decided to go off. And
Correct.
can you see like that it's jealousy in that case? Are you feeling that vibe with it?
Well, I think there's
Because she
a
said
bit
I'm white
of
and
jealousy.
hot. And I'm like, dude, it's, you know what I mean?
I think it's a bit of jealousy, but also egotism and narcissism because, once again,
Yeah.
we didn't make it this way, but we were born into our society, man-made, socially engineered, racial hierarchy, and whites are at the top. That means white men and white women. So when she's going around and saying, I'm hot, I'm beautiful, to black women, is kind of to try to assert yourself on top of the racial hierarchy.
Yeah,
Like,
you said a word earlier and you said dominance, and I never thought about it like that. You said like basically the Karens are they're trying to dominate. And I never really thought of it like that. And you're saying, they're just trying to establish themselves at the, racist pinnacle, I guess.
correct, and as powerful, because you know what a race soldier is. Even police, they started out as slave catchers. So
What's a race soldier? What is that?
a race soldier is essentially the people that carry out kind of like the Dylan Roots of the worlds, the dude who did the Buffalo shooting.
Oh, like the white supremacists? Gross.
Correct.
Yeah.
When they're talking about the great replacement theory, when they carry out these attacks, it's agenda. So they're like quote unquote race soldiers. They're doing it for the betterment of the race and to prevent extinction.
Gross. Oh, gross.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
okay. Because,
but what I'm saying is when the Karens, when they're able to call the cops or convey a certain message and highlight the black man specifically as a threat, then the race soldiers believe, hey, we already don't like them. We need to protect these Karens. So they're weaponizing, like I said, their whiteness, their toxicity, their feminist BS to, so they can just call a cop and the outcome can end potentially fatal for, the person that they're calling, because the cops are going to come anyways. So this is where the weaponization comes in. Let's say I'm not doing anything and a Karen calls the cops on me. Sometimes they get charged. We're seeing videos, but think about all the times that they don't get charged. Think
right.
about all the times where a Karen calls and the police show up, but I don't have my cell phone or my cell phone is dead.
Yeah.
Are they going to take my word versus a Karen? And this is the thing. Doesn't matter how twisted or deranged a Karen is. When they show up, if she's white and black, who are they really going to take word for it? People could say, why are you making it about race and all of this stuff? Okay. Think about your local neighborhood in Kansas City or Tennessee or Atlanta. I mean, come on now. Like just how you was telling me earlier, like, there's that PC answer and then there's the real answer. Give us the real answer. And we know what the outcome would be.
Yeah.
So let me just
Noticing her order was wrong, yelling at staff saying they need to speak English.
You got it wrong. You know what? Like, I'm really glad you two can talk to each other in whatever language it is that you're speaking, but it's really rude. And if you want to be polite to the customer, okay? If you want to be polite to the customer, then you speak English to the customer in America, okay?
She then goes on to say her kids can't eat green pepper, they only eat red.
My kids don't eat green things. They eat red peppers. You calm down.
Usually we make with green pepper.
Okay, usually you make with green pepper. I ordered it with red pepper. What are you gonna do about it? How long is it gonna take?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. I don't have 15 minutes for you not to know English, not to get it right the first time.
But what happens next is truly amazing.
In whatever language it is that you're speaking, okay? This is America, and you get it right the first time. You get it right the first time. Get it right the first time. Get it right the first time, okay?
Now this worker Karen called the police on a black woman because her son.
So
What do you feel
nobody
about that?
said anything. Nobody else said anything. Nobody said anything to that lady. There were people in the restaurant. I mean, I don't know if the people that were in the restaurant were white or not, but I feel like white people need to start shutting it down. I mean, how can you just let that? This lady was like losing her mind, and that's a colonizer right there. She just went
Correct.
straight up colonizer.
And you're saying don't, and it's crazy because first of all, there were black people, there were indigenous to these lands as well. Not every black person came over enslaved, but there's documented history, but they never teach you that. But in addition to the Native Americans, they had their own ways in land, right? And there was rape, pillage, and colonization, and the language became the English standard. So now people are over here saying, hey, you got, like, I do get to a certain extent, because there are some people that do that, right? Well, where they purposely speak in a language, because they know that you don't understand. And
Yeah, but I mean, whatever.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. But for me, I'm always like, when white people pull that move, I'm all like for white people, European people, I'm always like, dude, we're not from here. You know what I mean? you're not even from here. We aren't even from here. Like, our ancestors came and stole this shit.
Correct.
So how are you claiming anything? This is all stolen. Your people stole the shit.
But see, this is
So
what
what
they
are you
say.
mad about? Like,
And that's where they lose me. Go back to Africa. All right, cool. As soon as you go back to Europe.
that's
Oh no,
what I'm
no.
saying. That's why I'm like, you're not from here either. You stole it anyway. Besides the stealing, it's like, you aren't from here either. You're also immigrants. Your family was immigrants.
But son, and speaking of that, they're trying to call, I mean, they did shut it down, but it doesn't mean they shut it down on the as law, but you know, people could still teach it. In Texas, they're, instead of calling the slave, they're saying that they were involuntary migrants and unpaid workers, and you know what I mean, instead of calling them slaves, saying that they don't want, yeah, they were trying to do it in Texas. Some people shot it down, but imagine you reducing the chattel slavery down to unpaid work. And imagine this,
Right.
once they quote unquote freed the slaves, which they really didn't, they slavery continued after that. They're calling the slaves who built everything lazy. And who co-signed it? A bunch of other white people saying, yeah, blacks are lazy. It's like, dude, you were over there at the big house while these slaves were doing all the work, and now they're the lazy ones? That's insane.
It is. It's insane. It's just a departure. It's a departure from reality. You know what I mean? It just doesn't, the facts don't support that. Like,
Correct.
it's just because, like, when you like are trying to talk to people that are like really that racist, it's like, so you just don't want to talk about facts. So whatever they're making up in their head, that's coming out in like a Karen way, I guess.
And that's, their deluded thoughts are coming out as facts, but they're not actually facts. And they don't want to and look, I'm a humanitarian, so I love all people. Like, I think you're awesome,
Me too.
Sarah Beth.
Yeah, I love all people too.
Yeah, you know, but I need to be realistic. I wish that we could all just see each other as humans. And I'm talking about not on an individual level. I'm talking about as a collective society. But that's not the case. It's every man for himself, and it's every group for himself. And there was, unfortunately, like a bunch of colonizers and capitalists that came up with the term of race, because there's really only one race, right? Human race.
Mm-hmm.
But they broke it down so that they can develop a hierarchy so that minority could rule. There's more quote unquote black people and people of color on the planet than white people.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow white people have just managed to control all of the resources so they can subjugate and be over these people. And what do they say? Oh, you should have just worked harder. Literally, these slaves are in the field working 10, 20-hour days. And you want to say, oh, they should have worked harder.
Well, I've heard somebody say before, and I hope, well, I'm just repeating what somebody else said. They said, like, you white people, you could have just picked your own damn cotton. Which, to me, I'm like, well, yeah, you should have picked your own fucking cotton. Like, right? You should have just done the shit yourself.
Who was the lazy one?
But right, exactly, because it'll be like black people are lazy, and I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. That's not lining up, because you were like in a bigger house and making everyone do your work. You were lazy. You know what I mean? It's like the hypocrisy of it. It's just, I don't know, the hypocrisy of the whole thing, really.
Just type in mammy. Those black mammies were breastfeeding white kids.
Yeah.
A lot of white women are like, I didn't want to mess up my body, and it's crazy, but this history isn't taught to you. and
So
and
yeah,
and Pete, and this is we gotta reframe it too, because it's framed as Black history, but it's American history, right?
yeah, I believe that for sure.
Yeah, so that's why when people say Black History Month, I'm not black. Yeah, but you said you're American, right? You act like you're a patriot, right? And what do they say? And this where the Christian BS gets me. In
Oh God.
God eyes, we're all brothers and children, except for the blacks. Why would you be treating, if we're all God's children and you believe in God, why would you be treating God's children like that? Oh, this is what God wanted. Okay, if you truly believe that, why don't you articulate that? You know, if they try to have it on the fence, they want to say, no, I don't believe that way. I believe in equality. Cool. Well, this group is downtrodden. That's where they need the charity at. Oh, no, let's just send billions to Ukraine. What? Well, they need help. Like, people are sympathetic towards Ukraine, but when it comes to blacks, no, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Well, the same thing that's happening to Ukraine happened to blacks. Wall Street, literally, government was dropping bombs. They had race soldiers, which are, you want to know what a race soldier is? Ku Klux Klan. That's a definition of a race soldier. Cops were working with them to destroy. There was Florida, Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. They
Yeah.
literally were dropping bombs on it. And so just think of an affluent neighborhood where you're at, right? If we were over
I mean,
to come and drop,
apparently it's where I live because that pool is like 5 minutes from my house.
it's happened in so many areas, but there
Well,
weren't.
I thought about that. I was like, this is what I thought. I was like, do you seriously think it's 1955? What the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Because what she said was, what the lady said, somebody said, are you uncomfortable or something? And she said, yes. And for me, I was like, hold on. Why are you uncomfortable? Like, what's making you
What did you think
uncomfortable?
was going to happen to you, right? And see, this is why.
Right, explain that to me. What was making you uncomfortable?
Well, speaking of
Say it out
uncomfortable,
loud.
that's what I want, because I don't mind racists talking out loud, because now we can get them on camera for people like Tucker Carlson saying racism is a hoax. I want them to be on camera, because what's happened too long is these Karens have been underground. And you think,
Yeah.
oh, racism is dead until they call the cops on you for barbecuing at the park, until they say they're uncomfortable because they're, oh, wow, never been around this many black people. I'm uncomfortable. Think about that. Certain people, especially on the right, they say facts over feelings. Saying you're uncomfortable is a feeling. You know what I mean? There's no fact that anything was going to happen to you, but because you felt a certain type of way about blacks, yeah, I'm going to just shut the party down. And on the flip side, what will, I mean, because whites are the majority. If I go somewhere out there and say, oh, a lot of white people here, I don't feel uncomfortable. What will white people be saying? Go back to Africa, do this and that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You always give me a lot to think about, so I'm trying to process all the things that you're saying.
Okay, cool.
To
So
me.
I'm gonna play the video while you process. You know,
Okay.
Son was swimming in the hotel pool. When officers arrived at the scene, they asked whether she was a hotel guest and could provide her name and room number.
I do, and I feel it's discrimination. It is discrimination. I have a room here, and I told her that, and I told, no, let me explain my side to you. She called you, officer, and she called you here. So y'all both here harassing me. Why have my children in the pool? It was other people in the pool. She said nothing to them.
The lady refuses to tell them her name and room number. However, she does show her room key as proof that she's staying there.
Okay, my room. Where's my proof? This is my proof. Okay, this is my proof. So why do I have to tell you what room I'm in? What did I do wrong? This lady here is discriminating me.
And officers later identified her using a vehicle's registration to confirm that they were registered as a guest, and no enforcement action was taken, plus officers cleared all allegations.
All allegations.
And you see, that's almost back in the times where they used to ask, and I'm gonna kind of speed through this because I know you gotta get
Yeah,
off.
I do have to go here pretty soon, but
Yeah. So
final thoughts.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I said, I'm gonna speed through this, but she's out there chilling with her kids, and the cops are there asking her to prove that she's in the room. And then they want to know what room you're in. Like, come on, I'm showing you the room key. Okay, that's not enough, right? It's almost like when the slaves were quote unquote free, you know, they still would be checking their papers. Hey, are you legal and all this stuff? It's like, look, I'm just at the pool. I've paid money like anyone else. And like the lady said, you weren't checking everyone else's papers. If it was consistent across the board, but it's not. When you see Karens calling the cops, they're not calling cops on other quote unquote people of color or minority groups. They're only doing it on blacks because they have this negative connotation. And in order to have a racial hierarchy,
they do it to Asians, and they do it to everybody else too. Just not on like
not as
level,
frequent.
but they,
okay. I personally haven't seen that, but I will
like
take
white
your word
people,
from that.
The way white people talk to like Hispanic people.
And see
and Asian people, especially white supremacists, like the way they talk to Asian people, yeah, they're bad.
But see, the reason why
even Germans, what they did to the Jewish people, it's they've been bad.
I totally agree with that. The reason why I usually don't care about that is because when they're doing it to blacks, these other groups don't care until they want to say, oh, look, they're doing it to us too. But it's like, we've been telling you this. And that's the only part that I don't like, because anyone could look it up. No one has to take my word for it. There are plenty of Hispanics and Asians that identify as white. Even there's a lot of black immigrants that identify as white, because there's a dwindling birth rate, and that's how they're able to maintain their racial hierarchy. So it's not just only your skin pigment, but what you identify as the U.S. on the U.S. Census. So black people are repeatedly undercounted because a lot of black people don't trust the government, and a lot of them are purposely undercounted, and there's a lot of white people that are overcounted, and there's even some
Is that like passing?
What was that?
Is that like passing?
Is it passing?
Yeah.
Passing what?
Like you said that they identify as a different race.
Correct. Because they ask you,
because they're using it to their advantage, correct?
Correct. Have you ever heard of the term $5 Indian?
Yeah, I have, but I don't know what it means.
Okay, so it used to be back when Indians got reparations, a bunch of white people, kind of like i.e. Elizabeth Warren. Do you remember when Trump was calling her Pocahontas and stuff like that?
I remember when she did that.
The reason why is because she's a kind of definition of a $5 Indian. She got benefits.
Claims it, but she has very little.
Correct, but she got benefits.
I thought that was extremely distasteful when Liz Warren did that. I'm pretty sure she apologized for that, if I remember correctly, but I still was that's kind of lame, Elizabeth.
But
that's a little bit lame.
Correct. That's definitely Karen.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
and see, some people are looking at it as another ethnic group. They're like, I don't care about that. Some white people are like, whatever. But imagine if you're a Native American, she's getting benefits from that. Other people are being denied benefits, and meanwhile they're telling other people to pull yourself up by your bootstrap while you're looking for handouts, you lazy people. And here you have a white woman that says, hey, look, I have 0.00001 of Native American in me. All right, cool, you get benefits. Then someone else that actually has 50%, they make them jump through hoops to get things. You know what I mean? So
that was extremely uncool of Elizabeth Warren. I had forgotten about that, actually. But
and that's what I meant in terms of identifying these other groups. They do that
oh, I
too.
got you. Yeah,
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 so
yeah.
so it boosts the numbers of the white population. So that's why they keep saying, oh, black people are only 13%, which is not true. You know, like I said, we're purposely undercounted. Black people have been allegedly 13% for how long? That would mean that as many black people that are dying, or many black people that are being born, a bunch of black people are dying. And that's just not the case. Because white people, they don't have as many kids. When you look at these affluent people that are
Oh,
lawyers
yeah.
and doctors, they don't have kids. But
I don't have kids either. I
yeah,
mean,
that's what
by
I'm trying to
choice.
say. But
Yeah.
there's a bunch of black kids. Like one lady in the hood, she'll have like 5 kids. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's why the abortion thing is a totally different conversation we don't have time to get into today.
exactly.
But yeah, well, I really have to wrap this up. I have a
Oh
big
yeah,
day at
yeah.
work tomorrow.
Go,
But I guess I'd say my
yeah,
final thought.
go ahead and
My
say your
final
your
thought
closing
is
piece.
just it's how evil it is, because they know that what they're doing is going to hurt someone. To me, that's really, they know about that privilege and they are absolutely weaponizing it. And I just, the feeling, you say facts over, I guess they say facts over feeling. I'd never heard that before, but my feeling is just towards Karen's, just the general, my feeling, the best word I can use is disgusted. Just disgusted, because I know that we can really mess somebody up just by simply saying he touched me or whatever, just by saying whatever. And it's just to me it's disgusting, because I know that they know what they're doing. And I think that there just needs to be more white resistance against it. I mean, I don't know if there was any white people in that restaurant in that one clip, I'd be pretty pissed off that nobody said something, because they're just as bad if they don't say anything, if they don't do something, if they don't use their white skin for some good. They're not accomplishing anything. They're just going with it and benefiting from it, but they're not really doing anything to stop the evil. So I really think that white people need to seriously start, just somebody in that restaurant should have said something, especially if there were white people, because white people can say something and they know that they won't get in trouble. So they damn sure better be saying something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You over there cooking. I totally concur with what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that pool thing. I mean, I called him. I gave him a piece of my mind. I'm gonna make Aaron call them, give him a piece of my mind, and then I'm gonna go to like a city council meeting, because, it's different when a white person speaks out on it. That's what I'd like to, believe. I'd like to believe that I don't know. I just wanted to stop, to be honest with you. The Karens are so evil, and I just want Karens to stop.
Don't we all? I think if you do that, that will save lives. I'm in full support of that. And, we don't have more discussions like that. I appreciate your honesty. And once again, this is not to bash an ethnic group, because usually when you're criticized, see, people have no issue.
You have to criticize white people. You absolutely must.
Yeah,
we're the ones that are fucking it all up. Excuse my language, but it's like, get it together. It's just, yeah.
I'm gonna send you out on this one, because this is insane. If you ask people, is there a racial hierarchy? They'll say yes. If you ask them who is at the top, they will know that whites are at the top. So if they are at the top, in control of most of the money, power, resources, wealth, etc., right? They have the most control. But then when it comes to blaming, let's blame 13% of the population. Huh? If there's 13%,
yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to word that.
That means there's another 87%. right?
So what about
once
them? So what are those
there you
80%,
go.
7% doing?
But mind you, it's never that person's fault. All I say is, if we have a business and you own 87% of the business and I own 13% and the business fails,
Right. It's
whose fault is it?
right.
Right?
Yeah.
You can say, oh yeah, because of the dumb 13%. Yeah, but you're 87%. Like, you couldn't have collaborated with the 13.
That's why I keep stressing this to you. These people, these white people who are believing this way, they have departed from reality. You can say, look up the Homestead Act. Just look it up. All you have to do is look it up. And then there's always one excuse after another. They're just excuses. I have to let you go. And
Okay,
thank you
peace
for
out.
being
Yeah.
patient with me. And I hope, that I hope I didn't say anything that was offensive.
Nah,
And
I don't clutch my pearls. I'm not a snowflake. So yeah.
well,
Maybe
but
you can
I want to
take it
be,
opinion.
but I want to be respectful of your feelings. And I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank
This
you. I
this
appreciate
always
it.
gives me a lot to think about.
Yes, and shout out to the hubby, and I'll send you the link, and you guys could watch it, or he can watch it whenever he gets a chance, and
Okay.
we'll set up another one soon. And keep
Okay.
in, just keep in touch. If you randomly see a story and you want to just talk about it, we can
I appreciate
converse
you
back and
sending
forth.
me that thing about Lee Summit, because I'm like, this is my neighborhood. You're gonna hear from me. Y'all are gonna hear from me. We're gonna have a conversation about this. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you sending me that info.
Okay. Well, I seen it was in Kansas City, so I felt it was your neck
It's
of the
like
woods.
5 minutes. It's less than 5 minutes from where I live.
I didn't know it was that close.
It's really
Well,
close. We talked about going to that pool either on Saturday or on Sunday, and then Aaron was like, "Have you seen something on the news about the pool not being not being cool to Black people?" And I was like, "I haven't seen that yet." And then you sent it to me. But we were gonna go on Saturday or on Sunday. We were gonna go to that pool. So of course Aaron and I are like, y'all ain't having any more of our money. Forget that. Like, we're taking our money away from you. And I'm gonna go,
that's where you hit them where they hurt in
complain
the
to somebody.
pocketbook. Shout out to Aaron for bringing that to your attention as well.
I know.
I
was like,
awesome.
Good job. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you go because I'm very loquacious, and I get excited with these conversations.
Me too, B. I know, me too. I appreciate you taking the time, dude.
Yeah. Just like I said, hit me in the DM whenever you feel necessary. Have a good night, and once again, congratulations on your being your newlywed status.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we'll be in touch, dude.
All right, peace out, Sarah Beth.
You have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.